Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world. You are streaming here from the land of Skip, as you can hear in the background. There must be a Amazon delivery truck coming up the driveway or something. If I stay quiet for a second, you can probably hear him in the background. There he is. Who would want to walk up to a door and consider robbing that house when you hear that bark behind the door? But little do you know that deep bark is the softest yellow lab that you will ever see or hear in your life. Sorry, my hair is I've been outside today and it's all sorts of messed up. What's happening, people? Another edition of live Q&A with WAP. Coming to you live from the COVID cabin. Busy night ahead of us, 9 game slate in the association. I'll be here to take your questions once we get people to join the show. It takes a second or two. Get back up in here, load this. Okay. Friday. What do you guys got going on before? This isn't Thanksgiving week, because once we get to next week, there's going to be intense travel. People are going to be airport, driving, working, kind of working. It's all different. As Thanksgiving approaches, when you're 40-something years old, you're no longer going to the no longer going to the hometown bar where everyone from the high school is meeting up to convene for the first time since in forever, right? You do that more when you're in college and whatnot, but right. All right. What's up, MCC? Oh, okay. So let's start off how to approach this slate. 9 game slate in the association tonight. Once again, NBA Cup night because it's a Friday. How are we looking at this? So the question is, Bulls Heat, one of the highest totals ever. Seems like yesterday the Jazz totals were in the 190s. So with that said, I haven't looked because I imagine 249. Holy hell. 249 is the number, if you can see it on the screen here. Heat and Bulls. And honestly, that may not be enough. So 125, 125 gets you home. And I told you any number involving the Miami Heat that's doesn't say at least 240 is an auto bet. 250, 249 is obviously high. Chicago has changed up their entire offense so that they are not quite at the pace of the Miami Heat, but they are certainly as free flowing. So this game, put in my League Pass menu preview, this game will have almost 0 half-court sets because even on a miss, it's just get out and go, get out and go. The only dude who's holding up the line is Nikola Vucevic, and I can't continue to say how much he's pissing me off because he keeps hitting these damn game winners. First, it was Josh Giddey wraparound. Oh, hold on. We have an update. Trey Jones is going to be limited by Coach Billy Donovan tonight. Speaking of this game, 20 to 24 minutes restriction for Trey Jones. Over under 9.5 points. 11.5. 9.5. Let's see. Let's do some math here. Is he going to get to 9.5 in 20 minutes? Not quite sure. Let's just throw 10 on this just in case. Minutes restriction for Trey Jones. Okay, where were we? This game's going to fly. So every single possession will be secondary transition or fast break. Every single one. Every single one. And as a result, we're at 250. It doesn't even, honestly, games like this, I've been on a couple of these unders out of like pure principle. It doesn't even matter if they miss shots. As long as the pace of the game is through the roof, and the Miami Heat are clearing the second place last time I looked by nearly 6 pace points. That's how fast they play. So as long as the gas pedal is to the floor, they're eventually going to make shots because they have so many damn possessions per game. That's why you're seeing a total that's that high tonight. Because they just never stop running. It's never, ever in a half-court set. They slow down in the fourth because they're getting tired, but shit, every Khalil Ware block and rebound is just leading to Davion Mitchell out in the open floor, Wiggins in the open floor, Norm Powell in the open floor. Jaquez may end up winning most improved player, sixth man of the year, something like that, because he's just always downhill in transition. That's what the Heat do, and that's why this number. And when they have a team that is willing to acquiesce to that particular style, you're going to get a number that is all-star game territory. What's going on in Chicago tonight? So that would be the explanation. What's up, Nutty Gang? You guys could hear Skip in the background. Kobe out. Yeah, Kobe. He's been blowing through his minutes restriction too, by the way. You guys seen that? Minutes restrictions, for those of you that do decide to invest in individual props and spreads and stuff, minutes restrictions are the biggest like CLV that you can have with a player. Because if you know their minutes are going to be cut in half, the shot attempts, the quantity of attempts. Okay, Trey Jones down to 8.5. All right. I'm not going to be taking that, but so we got it at 9.5 at least. So we dropped a full point, but 20 to 24 minutes is still pretty significant. Yeah, if you ever catch word that a player is going to be on a minutes restriction, that means they're going to play. And if they start, they play the first 6 minutes, then they don't appear usually until the 6-minute mark in the second quarter. That's a big deal. That's a long time. And a lot of these algorithms with live betting, they're taking into account how many minutes they're supposed to play because they have a target. But as they go 12 game minutes without being on the floor, then you can get some soft numbers. So that's why minutes restrictions are always the biggest way to be trading futures, wagers, peer-to-peer, whatever you're doing on ProfitX. What's up? Okay. Helwick, I see you going to first NBA game of the season tonight. It's a 95, so that must be the Nuggets and the Rockets, which is the only. The other game with potential is the Wolves and the Suns. Suns are playing well. They got Dylan Brooks. Minnesota and Phoenix was a playoff series not all too long ago. There's potential for some happenings there. But the big game of the night is Alperen Şengün. We're going to see just how good he is against these Denver Nuggets that are still not even completely whole, yet feel like the only true contender to dethrone Oklahoma City. The Bulls, that's the difference, Danny. The difference with the Bulls this year is no more of these ISO sets, especially now that Levine and DeRozan and Vooch, and they were just a whole bunch of operating through a hub at the nail on the free throw line. Now it's like 2 dribbles max, dribble handoffs, get downhill, open threes. Even Pat Williams is out there chucking. Sticks is improved. They have 5 guys who can spread the floor, and everything is either catch and shoot right away or get downhill. Force the defense to collapse, drive and kick, someone get an open look or get to the free throw line. Those are the most free-flowing offenses in the game. It's a majority of what we've seen since the Boston Celtics revolution in their style. And as a result, teams are just scoring points in droves. And the Miami Heat specifically is all of those facets of the game, but everything's a fast break too. Everything. They get the ball, and I've never seen them walking up the floor once this year, which is certainly a way to take a team that is offensively challenged. They don't have much talent, especially while Tyler Hero's coming back. You don't want Bam Adebayo to be going into 50 ISO sets. He's not good enough to be able to do that. So get him out into the open floor, and it seems to be working for them, especially at home. Danny says Miami has the highest pace recorded since 1992. They play fast, man. You better not be hungover for those games against the Heat. Is it stay wobbin' or steady wobbin' still a thing? Steady wobbin'. If you're old enough to remember the streams from back in the day, Late Night with Wob, Steady Mobbin', as you know, was my go-to song from, what was that, the Young Money days? They had the collection of those artists, Steady Mobbin', Drake, Birdman, or Lil Wayne, and who else was on there? Steady Mobbin'. It's Steady Wobbin'. It's Steady Wobbin'. That was a 2010s banger. Jaden McDaniels back in the lineup. for your Minnesota Timberwolves. There's going to be a bunch of news coming in here because let's see, it's 6:30 local. It's pitch black, by the way. Pitch black. 5 p.m. I can't stand it. My God. I don't know how people live here. How do you live anywhere? Now it gets dark in LA late too, but thank God. I'm headed to Argentina soon for a couple of weeks, and it's summertime down there. If I have the means to be able to not experience darkness at 4 o'clock, you better believe that's where I'm why I work. Get away from that. Ryan Rollins' ascension. Well, it started with that game. I'm never going to forget it because it's one of the CLV games. Ryan Rollins' coming out party this year was against the Golden State Warriors when Giannis was ruled out, and Ryan Rollins got them that victory that night. He's pretty good on the ball, man. Like last night, trying to close against Maxey. Maxey had a gargantuan performance, but he was the only source of creativity and dribble penetration for Milwaukee. This is why I can't wait. I cannot wait until I rub it in. Like the Bucks have been bad, and they're still so bad. They are bad. They are completely mediocre, and I just need a bigger sample size to be able to justify a lot of these hypotheses that I had before the season. But Ryan Rollins is having to do everything without Giannis. Like the entire team is Giannis. We all knew that. But they are incredibly mediocre. Bobby Portis can only run 25 minutes. Like he was in the starting lineup. I'm expecting he comes off the bench even when they're shorthanded. It gives you 17 to 23 minutes. Can Bobby Portis not run 30 minutes? He would be their best offensive option. Like, what the hell's going on? Miles Turner still catch and shoot. I can't trust him to be doing anything else. Kuzma's monopoly chance card. It's all Ryan Rollins, man. And they do a whole bunch of standing around waiting for him to break down the defense because that's usually Giannis doing it originally. But him playing off of Giannis has been much needed. He's going to need a co-pilot, and that's Ryan Rollins right now, absolutely. Welcome to the East Coast. God damn, it just gets so dark so fast. And because I'm going to bed so late, games don't end until 1 a.m. I'm not waking up because my radio show doesn't start till 1 p.m. Eastern, so I'm not waking up until 11:45. I see a grand total of 4 hours of sunlight. That's not healthy. No human being is built to see 4 hours of sunlight. I'm sorry. A lot of systems are so modernized this year. It's been very impressive. The style of play for sure. Well, you have so many players now that can stretch the floor and shoot threes. It's almost a prerequisite. You're not allowed on the floor unless your name is Mitchell Robinson. If you can't, you have to be a big guy that can handle the basketball and shoot threes. There are so many interchangeable parts and roster versatility that is essential to building a winning team. There's no more specialists in the NBA. There's no more positions. One equals point guard, 2 equals shooting guard, 3 equals small forward, 4 equals power forward, so on and so forth. Those days are extinct, not even endangered species anymore. Your traditional point guards are down to like Chris Paul and Mike Conley Jr. Tyrese Halliburton may be the last of the one who's able to represent this current generation, but you have to be able to do it all, man. And I would like to poll the audience very quickly. I was catching some flack. That is the angriest call, if anyone was listening to the show earlier today. That is by far the angriest call that we've gotten since I started doing Give and Go. So I proposed, now I got Helwick in here too. I know I got some sharp basketball minds, all right? Jalen Brunson at the end of the Dallas Mavericks game with the situation. I'm not even going to propose the ludicrous one, which involves Mitchell Robinson, even though you guys will like to hear it. The one with Jalen Brunson. So he steps to the free throw line with the Knicks up by 1. He misses the first free throw. That was the 5th straight missed free throw for the Knicks at the time. There's 3.7 seconds left on the clock. I proposed, and I'm still serious about this, with only 3.7 seconds left, Jalen Brunson intentionally missed the second free throw. What does being up by 2 do for you if you allow them to inbound the basketball without the clock running and they can run the baseline? So here's my proposal. You miss it on purpose. You put Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns on the floor. So it's not a guarantee that the rebound's going to be clean for Dallas either. Yes, there's always the potential of the foul and sending them during a rebound to the free throw line. But let's say we make everyone very aware, do not foul. If Dallas were to retrieve that rebound, the clock is running. They're 90 feet away from the rim. They get the ball. They have to turn, face, either dribble or pass that thing all the way up the court in less than 3.7 seconds. By the time they catch it, what's the quality of look that the Mavericks or anyone in that situation is going to get when you have point 4, point 0.5? You're just going to be throwing up some bullshit. And it doesn't even matter if you're up by 2 because it's likely going to be a 3 anyway. But if you make the free throw, now they get the opportunity to inbound. Derek Lively catches it at half court, drops it off to Brandon Williams, who's streaking downhill, gets to the rim, probably should have had an and one to win the game. The Knicks ended up being victorious, but I'm getting so much pushback on this particular strategy. This is a math equation. It's risk assessment. And that so many are, now you always take the point. You take the point. I'm like, you don't take the point right there. You start the clock and you force them to make a ludicrous shot versus a layup of some kind. I do not agree with, and of course, Antonio's on the side of make the free throw. But there's been situations like that in the past. And then the ludicrous one, by the way, is Mitchell Robinson. I was going to take him out of the game and have him pretend to have a busted wrist. It looks like you need an x-ray, Mitchell Robinson. Go get an x-ray and we'll replace you at the free throw line. Now, Dallas gets to pick the player because Mitchell Robinson's disqualified. They get to pick the player to go shoot the free throw. Every single option on that Knicks bench, whether they've played or not, is better than a 22% free throw shooter, and we'll make at least one of two. And if you make one of two, the game is over because the Knicks were up 3 at the time. I'm trying to think of the game at a high level and manipulating that clock in our favor. And that you just want to play it so straightforward and you take the points no matter what. It's such an archaic way. It's such an archaic way of thinking about the game. These end of game scenarios in the NBA should be all about risk assessment. Do we make it or do we miss it intentionally? You always see the player looking at the bench and that they don't have someone in that second row of coaches that has a game plan for every single scenario. This will happen. And an outlier occurred because Mitchell Robinson is the worst free throw shooter on planet Earth. And if that's the case, get him out of the game and anyone else can come on. You won't need him if that substitute just makes one of 2 free throws. Jalen Brunson misses that free throw and the Knicks don't go over the back during a rebound. The game's over. They're not getting up a full court shot in less than 3.7 seconds. That is any quality, decent quality of look. And rest my peace. I don't feel like I'm out of pocket or it's anything incredibly difficult to comprehend either. But man, people were mad. It's time for 20 says kind of off topic from NBA, but why is it that the big market issue, star players choosing the Lakers, Knicks over smaller teams, doesn't seem to affect other sports, mainly the NFL? I don't really see it being as big of a topic in NFL media, and I don't see stars purposely choosing to go to big markets in the NFL. When was the last star to choose a market because of the size of the market? People are going to the Lakers because LeBron was there, because Luka is there. They're going to the Lakers because of the rich history of the franchise, and they want to represent it. When was the last time an NBA player said, I want to be an unrestricted free agent so I can move to New York or Los Angeles? This is such a dead, old, low-hanging fruit narrative that quite honestly may never have not have existed in the past couple of decades. Name me one player that falls into that fallacy. And that's not meant to yell at you for asking that question. And I understand what you're trying to imply, but that just isn't a thing anymore. They go there because of that's where their family. Chris Paul, here's a good one. He ended up going back to the big market of LA. His family lives there. That's the reason. And the Chicago is like the Bulls are still waiting to get the big market player. Chicago's not even that big of a, it's what, the third, fourth biggest city in the country. It's the Midwest. It is dark and freezing 7 months of the year. No one is going out of their way to live in Chicago if you're all about unless you're from there. Like Anthony Davis may want to go play there because he's from Chicago. If you're from Chicago, God bless. But I just never heard someone being like, oh, you know what? I want to go play in Chicago because I love the market size and the weather. Like that's just not a thing. If they're that obsessed with weather, they go to Miami, they go to Los Angeles. If they want business opportunities, they go to San Francisco, they go to New York. But if you're that big anyway, the business will find you. Giannis has plenty of business in Milwaukee. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's in Oklahoma City, doing plenty of business. Those are not opportunities that are only available to stars in major markets. What else you guys got? Yeah. Davis is a Packers fan too. Yeah. LeBron is what? LeBron's a Cowboys fan, a Guardians fan, a Yankees fan, a Browns fan. Come on. What are we doing here? Shout out to Profit X. You guys are up and running. I don't think I'm able to place bets while in the state of Connecticut, but Trey Jones under 9.5 was my wager tonight. We got some big spreads out there. Will the Indiana Pacers do you guys think they'll treat the Emirates NBA Cup the same way a team that's a club that's in, let's say, 8th place in the English Premier League or La Liga? We know we're not going to win the championship, the league championship, but we're going to go all in on the Copa del Rey. We're going to go all in on the FA Cup, which are those separate tournament competitions. Will the Indiana Pacers say we're going all in on the NBA Cup because we're going to be looking to get our draft pick back, wait for Halliburton to return, and give it a shot next year? There's some big spreads out there, 14.5 against those Toronto Raptors that are kind of flying under the radar. They lead the league in assist to turnover ratio, by the way. Brooklyn Nets 15-point dogs in Boston tonight. Woof. The Pelicans only 4-point dogs in Dallas, and that's because of Derek Queen. You can see the board lighting up here. Derek Queen has been awesome. Awesome. That's great to see. That kid's got a lot of pressure on him, and he is delivering. Wolves Suns will be fun. Nuggets Rockets. Wow. How many times this year is Denver going to be a dog at any point? 3-point dogs on the road. Oklahoma City, 16.5-point favorites on the road in Utah for a game that they're going to be very apathetic towards, and yet still they'll probably get there. OKC, do you guys think 74 wins? Is 74 wins in the brewing for the Thunder this year? Is it possible? It's a long way before we can start taking this seriously. Game of the night. Game of the night's easily Nuggets and Rockets. Easily. Right here. Right in the middle of your screen. That we're going to get a true test of both those sides. The Rockets, of course. That, you know what's even more impressive to me about the Rockets is what they did opening night. Probably should have won that game, forcing double OT. Game of the year against OKC. They seemed very worthy. And I know J-Dub wasn't around, but neither was Dorian Finney-Smith. Neither was, some of these guys. What happened to the Fort Wayne Mad Ants? Did they get contracted? Are they moving? I know what the Mad Ants are. What do you guys got going on this weekend? Anything fun? I'm on just such a different schedule now that I'm not up to my usual routine of getting into shenanigans on a Saturday. Got it. The only good news is the games are on 3 hours later here, so I can spend my day doing something tomorrow, as opposed to having to sit around the house all day and watching hoops and then going out at night. OKC is the most depth in league history. They have legitimately 15 guys that can start. Even the ones that no one's ever heard of. What's his name? Blood Heiser, something, whatever. And then when they go to them, I'm like, oh my God. Him, Ousmane Dieng. Shit. They're just so incredibly deep. And it's an assembly line. Doesn't even matter. Like everyone fits. Wait, they don't even have Nikola Topic. Lottery pick from 2 years ago because of his testicular injury he's got going on. They're about to have another lottery pick. Could be potentially buried. What do you even do with the lottery pick? If OKC runs the table and wins again, do you even want a top 5 pick, he's never going to play. How do you get him integrated? Whoever gets drafted by OKC would be pissed. Pissed. I'm only going to play 10 to 15 minutes a night. I'd rather go to Utah, Washington, and I could just be the guy. Young blood. What did I say? Bloodheiser? That's a combination of young blood, young blood, and Barnheiser. Barn blood. Bloodheiser. Brooks Barnheiser. Yeah, well, whenever he's in the game, the Thunder just win. That's what they do. Skip's out there barking at something. Can dogs see? Do they have night vision, or is that cats? Dogs don't have good night vision, do they? They're obviously the nose helps. But I'm in the woods, so it's just pitch black out there. There's no way he can see through in the darkness that sharp. Does this room bring back any nostalgia for those of you that have been following the account for some time? I know a lot of people have left Twitter. We lost a lot of our core audiences. Social media becomes more and more fractured. There's so many different damn outlets now. I even have to post on Threads. Skip is locked in. I can hear him. I think he wants to come in. But I ran his ass into the ground earlier. We do boot camp. I call him Private Pile. Are you ready? Private Pile. And yeah, he wants to come in. Can you guys hear him? I mean, I take the paddle ball and I hit it as far as I can in the biggest field. This field is just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yards long. It's just heaven because I can just hit that thing and he gallops and runs and it sounds like the bell just rang at the Belmont. And he just gallops and gallops and gallops and we run for like 20 minutes before he's like, okay, I'm done. I can't believe how many runs he does. I say that, but look at AJ Mitchell's usage already in year 2. Barnheiser getting minutes. Everybody's integrated. Talk about a league right now that has, did you guys see the stat that Tom Haberstroh put out about 50, what is it down to? 56 or 52%? Every single player that qualifies as an NBA star, which means you've made the All-Star game or all NBA teams in the last 3 years. If you are one of those people, put them into a bucket, and that bucket has played in only 56% of games this year. The average is usually 90%. That's a big problem, is it not? Well, that affords opportunity to guys like Dennis Jenkins in Detroit, Nick Smith Jr., that game in Portland for the Lakers. No Luka, no Reeves. Ryan Rollins against the Golden State Warriors. And then the Warriors decided to punt in Miami, so they send out their JV team. But there was opportunity abound. So just because, I love what Antonio says about this. He goes, just because guys don't play means they can't play, especially in an NBA now, where there is so much competition for spots and slots. So when they finally get onto the floor, they're treating it like it's game 7. And that Dennis Jenkins, that Ryan Rollins may just be one injury away from like, I'm as good as the starter, if not better. That's been happening a ton this year with the emergence of Overtime Elite, the G League, the one and dones or NIL in college, the Euro League. There's so many different professional leagues elsewhere. Derek Lively II just ruled out, by the way. The pool of talent, D'Angelo Russell also out for the Mavs tonight. There's so many places to find talent, man. You have to be so damn good to make the league. So damn good. You have to be Mr. Basketball in your state almost every year during high school. You have to be the AAU MVP at the ABC tournament, the Peach Jam. You got to be the MVP of that tournament every time. You got to be All-American, All-Conference in college. And maybe you'll get a first-round pick. Maybe. Even someone like Caleb Lovett from Carolina can't even be a first round pick. There's just so many options, especially with the international pool of players that are just freaks of nature, but you never heard of them because they're playing for some club over there, and technology is available for scouts to be able to see these guys. The pool, the usually supply and demand, we know how that chart works. The supply has gone up significantly. And because there is a finite amount of spots available on NBA rosters, the competition is through the roof. And it takes an AJ Mitchell to finally get those minutes because J-Dub is still coming back from his injury. Now AJ Mitchell is all of a sudden like one of the leaders for most improved player. He's always been good, but you have to get so lucky with your draft situation. Look at James Wiseman, who I thought to be an incredibly talented player. He gets drafted to Golden State for necessity more than just taking the best player available. Doesn't fit in with their system, ends up getting hurt over and over and over again. And now he may find himself out of the league after all these injuries. Tough world out there. What's the most impressive skill or talent Skip has? His ability to fetch. He is faster. I would put him up against any Labrador on earth when it comes to raw speed. He's built like a pit bull with his shoulders, just pure muscle. He is so fast. My God. He's not like a gazelle, not like an Australian shepherd, but just raw speed. He's a sweet dog. He doesn't have any particular skills that he can like sing or something. He's just doesn't have a bad bone in his body. He's a lot better at walking now too. Doesn't pull as much. He's just a joy. Will AJ Dybantsa and Cooper Flagg end up on the Celtics? What? Why would Cooper Flagg end up on the Celtics? Derek Queen masterclass on the way. Derek Queen can hoop, man. Pelicans games are not fun to watch, but you should be because of Antonio on the call. And Derek Queen out there now realizing I might be the best player on this team. And now that he's being afforded that opportunity, which is the word of the day here on the show, he's being used to initiate offense. Like they're running it through him. He's incredibly crafty. He can't jump over a credit card. And oh, by the way, he's been stamped by Nikola Jokic. You hear his post-game interview? Like that kid is different. He's unique. He got caught. Jokic got caught in the first half with that hezzy crossover, and then he exploded to the rim. And Jokic looked back like, damn, I didn't know the big fella could move like that. Tim Duncan texted Antonio and said, yo, that Queen kid is something. I think that was the extent of the text. But Tim Duncan is not texting Antonio about many players. They're still very friendly. He said he texted about Queen. A lot of these knowledgeable players that can see this kid's potential without needing the verticality of a Derrick Rose or John Morant. He dribbles the basketball like he's a point guard. That deal is always going to be scrutinized because of what was necessary for the Pelicans to go get him. And there'll be plenty of people out there who still think, well, the Pelicans are still horrendous. It wasn't worth it because now you're going to lose your pick. And that could have also been Caleb Wilson, AJ Dybantsa, the Boozer kid, whatever. And then you could have had someone else. But if Derek Queen turns out to be what he looks like, then it was worth it. The Pelicans may not win games, but both things can be true. They have a terrible record, and he was worth trading up for, even though it was a significant risk. It's still a significant risk. Just saying, give it some time because that kid clearly can ball. Now you got to fight off all the NBA Without Borders academies across the pond. Yeah. So one of my buddies, he was on the stream once. I think some of you met Bam Bam. He's an agent that deals a lot with NIL. And a couple of kids that came over to the United States. They play for Rutgers Seton Hall that he's managing their NIL stuff with. How they get to the United States it should be a movie. Because I want to make sure I get the country right. The NBA has camps set up or academies set up in Senegal. And what they do is they find talent, they recruit these kids, they provide them an education, a place to live, and like start hooping here. And then they get funneled to the United States with opportunities, whether it's going to the G League or, whatever. It's their recruiting process. So my buddy's always up against the NBA because they have scouts out there looking for the same guys that he is. And then you go to a country like Nigeria, for example, where he's told me it's just a matter of who's working the visa control that day. Like, how much money do you have to put in their pocket to get a stamp that says you can travel to the United States? And in Nigeria, I think if you get 3 X's, denials, you can never apply again. So essentially, you could only have 2 because you don't want to risk the third. Some shit like that I've been told stories about. It makes it so difficult to find talent, go through the legal process of emigrating them and or getting them a visa to participate in college, a semi-professional league. But that question in the chat about all those academies across the pond, like, yeah, that's a real thing. And they are building talent every single day. Talent that we probably never even heard of that may end up being Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid didn't play basketball until he was, 15 or 16? He's playing volleyball. Like, that shit is happening all the time. The legalities of getting those players to the United States, especially considering the political climate here now, is not as easy as it sounds. Skip would kill at a combine. You know what's nuts is, like, he may be the fastest yellow Labrador I've ever seen, but if you put him next to a real, like a greyhound or a dog that's known for its raw speed, or an Australian shepherd, the way that they dart around, he would look slow. I'm just saying, the Labrador class, I'll put Skip up against anybody. Oh, now Derek Lively's available. How do you push an update? He's out, now he's back in. With that said, what shenanigans are going on here in this game? Derek Lively. I mean, this is a tight spread. ProfitX has that at, okay, Daniel Gafford's at 10.5, but he's been playing quite well. So Derek Lively, 9.5. You could still request some action if someone wants to match you. I don't know how much liquidity is out there with Derek Lively, but some of you that are interested should be taking a look at this number right here. What did I tell you about Najee Marshall the other day? I said, this is Najee Marshall's night, especially if some of those guys are going to be out. Najee Marshall went for 30 plus points when his over under was like 12.5. I wish they were all that easy. Najee Marshall could be someone who's just standing in the corner for 35 minutes, or he can be on the ball with a usage percentage reminiscent of Russell Westbrook in Washington, depending on who's available for the Mavericks. So if Cooper Flagg is out, if D'Angelo Russell is out, Najee Marshall is the emergency catcher of point guards for that team, and he will put up gargantuan box scores. Tim Duncan, what'd you say, Steve? Tim Duncan texting Antonio and Sean Elliott during broadcast is one of my favorite bits. Well, it means he's just chilling, watching. We know he's involved with the franchise on a consulting type of basis. He still lives in San Antonio. Him and AD are quite close. I think they have daughters the same age as well in the volleyball space. That I'm not sure about, but they're talking hoops all the time. And AD's in touch with many of his Spurs teammates regularly. Avery Johnson, Malik Rose, Tim Duncan, Sean Elliott. They have a group chat that's still popping 26 years later. Which is why when he doesn't text me back, you hear about it on the show. I know you're reading my texts. Oh, Derek Lively will be limited to 15 to 18 minutes. That is a restriction. Hello. That's a severe restriction. Let's see what we got here. Those are the type of restrictions that we must capitalize. There's no liquidity on ProfitX, so I will provide it. Oh, I'm in Connecticut, so I can't but you should be doing that as well. That one gets the Wob sign off under Derek Lively before it changes. Let's see. Derek Lively, boom. Derek Lively, boom. Derek Lively, I'll take both of those. Okay. I am in business. Let's rock. Once again, 15 minutes. Dude, that is like 3-4 minute bursts per quarter. That's it. Yikes. That's all he's going to get. He may end up just like bursting the first 7 minutes and then never seeing him again until the third quarter. That tends to happen with some starters. Like what happened to Bronny James when he started. You play the first 4 minutes and you're just never seen from him again. Derek Lively, minutes restriction, 15 to 18 minutes. Let's see if it changed at all. Derek Lively. See, there's just no liquidity here. ProfitX. ProfitX, can you dump in some liquidity, please, for our viewers, if you're watching this? Yeah, they listed him out, and then Jason Kidd said, "Whoops." Oh, I have a question. I have a question for the chat. I was anticipating Golden State was going to get fined with a player participation policy violation that Cleveland got in Miami. Golden State decided to bench everyone, including Jimmy Butler. Why is it that ESPN knew in advance that they were going to be benching Jimmy? Because they flexed out of the game to show us Cavs versus Rockets, which would imply they knew Jimmy was going to sit. Therefore, it's not nearly as worthwhile watching Jimmy Butler's return to Miami. So did the Warriors let the NBA know in advance a couple of weeks, we're circling this date for injury management. Please don't fine us. We're giving you a heads up. Versus the Cavaliers, who decided we're just benching all of our guys because of rest. And we just played in Miami 2 nights ago. Oh, by the way, they won that game by double digits with their bench, and they still got fined anyway. What is the consistency? Which suggests to me that the Warriors did let the NBA know we will not be playing Jimmy Butler in Miami because it's the second leg of a road back-to-back at the end of a 6-7 game road trip going from Orlando down to Miami. This is the shit I got to pay attention to. The little intricacies of the business of basketball, specifically the NBA. I don't know how many people care about it, but if I want to be able to speak on it at this level, it's like keeping an eye out. Why did the Warriors not get fined? How many people know the Cavaliers got fined for a game that they won? Probably 1 out of 10,000 walking down the street. 1 out of 100,000. Nobody cares unless you're watching this show. I have to care because I'm doing a daily show on the NBA. Then I have to figure out, why didn't the Warriors get fined too? And it's because they told the league that we will not be playing Jimmy that night. It's the end of a road trip. That's your fault for scheduling a road game in Miami at the end of a road trip for us. Because we don't have to deliver Jimmy Butler to you so you can get your ratings. That's the age we live in with load management. Some people believe the season's too long. Some people believe they did it 20 years ago with no medical technology available to rehab or heal. And the kids today should be able to do it as well. So it's like everyone's always chasing their own tail. Last call for alcohol. Also, kids nowadays don't drink alcohol either. Do you see that report? It's like half as many. They're not going out to bars. They're doing other things. The world changes so fast, generation to generation. Hi, Wob. Can we expect radio roulette at some point? What would you call this? Isn't this the same thing? Just reading the chat and shooting the shit? That's what that show was. It just has different branding. They just vape. The bars are dead. I agree with that. Kids are not going to bars anymore. They're going to bars to vape and not drink alcohol. Seems like alcohol is better than whatever the hell they're doing. Oh, after games? Probably not. I was doing the post-game show the last 2 years. I was doing the post-game show on Sirius XM. I don't think I'll be doing it this year, which leaves if there's a game that I have to just fucking talk about, I can go live here the same way that I did once upon a time. But no, unless I have partners lined up to sponsor it, no. Sorry, I just can't get motivated to do an additional show for the love of the game anymore. The Cavs also got fined a week later, but the Warriors will get a slap on the wrist just for semi-consistency and probably letting the league know. That's the biggest reason for the fines is like you screwed our partners over because you didn't tell us that you were going to bench those guys. If you give us a heads up, we can flex out of it, which requires a couple of weeks' notice. Therefore, you won't get fined. I think that's actually okay. I would like to know that information publicly, though. Why don't the Warriors tell the NBA and tell the world? We're not playing Jimmy Butler against Miami. It's the second leg of a road back-to-back, 7 games. We've been on the road. Just so you guys know, don't be buying tickets. It's not ideal, but at least you don't rug. How many people bought tickets that night? Paid a premium to see Jimmy Butler return to Miami so they could boo him. You deprived those people of that ability. And now they're sitting there with a ticket they paid way too much for. Like, yeah, we won the game, but I came here to do one thing specifically. Not everyone sitting in the crowd has to be this hoop head that can tell you why coming out of a double drag set into an Iverson cut, elevator door screen, flare screen. Some people just want to sit there, drink a beer, and watch entertainment. Okay. And that's honestly a majority of sports fans. They don't need this 401 level education and analysis that NBA Twitter feels like is necessary. You could talk about the game of basketball pretty broadly, barbershop style, still find it entertaining. Ooh, look at these amazing X's and O's. Like, how many people give a shit about this other than the 40 people on NBA Twitter in their echo chambers? Break down the game. It's wonderful. There's always a need for it. But this mentality of this is how we should be creating NBA content, man, you don't understand your audience. Oh, well, Helwick. ASU, Arizona State, is an outlier. That place is going to be partying until the supernova occurs, till Armageddon happens. That is one of the party capitals of the world. And they got the finest students. They did when I was a kid, and still they draw all of those LA girls to come over there that don't get into UCLA or USC. They go to Arizona State. Everyone looks good. No matter what your preference is, whatever you're into, they look good at Arizona State. Speaking as a Southern Californian, the bars are gouging our pockets. Well, that too, everything's more expensive. And kids are screwed. Anyone who's middle to younger Gen Z is in debt, has no money. It's not their fault. Like the inflation soaring, they can't get jobs. College degrees are worthless. What are they supposed to do? Right? That's why they turn to content. That's why they're into engagement farming. They have no other choice, and I don't blame them. If I had a kid, they would not be going to anything but a state university. They'd be learning a trade. They go to community college. It's just not worth, unless you're trying to be a doctor or a lawyer, you get into like Harvard or something. I just don't find that to be as valuable as it once was, personally. And I wish everyone looked at college degrees. Just because I have a college degree doesn't make me any better than someone that's as smart as me without one. It's so stupid. This little piece of paper. It's like buying a You could actually be in a fraternity like I was, but I don't think it should separate you from the field because you passed chemistry 101 with 500 other people that are half of them are cheating by putting the answers in their calculators anyway. It's so stupid. The concept of undergraduate degrees is so stupid, and how that should just platform you in society. I'm glad there's been a little bit of a reckoning because the prices for those degrees is just not sustainable. Thank you for listening. AJ says also yesterday, FYI, when you asked to remind you about the Nets game 5 rant in this room, it was about Budenholzer playing drop on KD and not doubling him. That's something I would rant about because it was. I remember why I was mad about that game. It was PJ Tucker guarding Kevin Durant, and we were begging Giannis. Like, we get the concept of having Giannis play free safety between the two dunker spots, but if Kevin Durant is torching PJ Tucker, Giannis needs to say, PJ, you go play the dunker spot, defender of the rim. I'm going to take Kevin Durant because no one else can stop him. And he was just continuously killing these dudes. That's why I was probably so pissed off. Did I see what happened to the bungalow? You need a ticket to get in now? No, that was probably for like a private party. I've been there somewhat recently. You're saying you have to cover charge? Yeah, I could say Drew Holiday can defend anyone. The best way to defend Victor Wembanyama right now is by sending a small forward, like a Draymond, honestly, a Draymond Green or Drew Holiday. The elephant is most scared of the field mouse, right? Not of the lions, not of fellow elephants. It's most scared of the field mouse. Someone that can get underneath Victor Wembanyama, like Dylan Brooks, and what Phoenix did to him that one night. Marcus Smart, I may have been bothering him a little bit in that Lakers game, if I'm not mistaken. He's more, you're not going to block his shot ever. So why are you jumping? You might as well just use your low center of gravity to try and push him off of positions, but he's banged up and we're not going to see him for a little bit. So whatever. Caruso on Jokic. Remember when they tried to put Rui during that playoff series on Jokic? Like, what's the point? You might as well just go with a smaller defender, have him front him, always be sending help, put a versatile guy so that he can't put the ball on the floor, just eliminate one way that he can beat you. But these star players require that type of attention. Coach Mike, what's good? Unfortunately, I'm about to go eat some dinner. I have some penne with ground turkey, sausage, chorizo, garlic waiting for me in the other room. And games are about to tip off. I think it's the Pacers and the Cavs. Oh, Amazon Prime game. Woof. Did we at least get Nuggets Rockets for the other Amazon Prime game? I think we did. But they sent Cassidy to the first game, I think. Too bad. Friends, it's been a fun week. It's Friday. I hope you guys go enjoy your Friday evenings, your weekends. I'll be back on Monday with this show as well as the radio show. Monday, Tuesday. No radio show Wednesday, Thursday, but I will be back here on this show on Wednesday for sure, as well as Friday. So no days off with the Q&A, live Q&A. Go eat some good food. Go hang out with your buddies. You only live once. Until next time, I will see y'all on the timeline. Skip says bye too. Deuces. Oh, it might be a police chase as well. Who knows? You too, Coach Mike. Bye.